This is day five, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's day five. I was actually when I went to the gym this morning before this, and I was on my way there, and I was like, man, the power of the do it now mentality. Because like, and she was like, so what have you been up to? And I was like, funny thing, you know, one of the entrepreneurs I know hit me up, and he said he wanted to have a conversation every day, and we should record it, and maybe we can help some people out. And she's like, I like it. She's like, so when do you start? I was like, oh, we started like 3 days ago. Well, when you guys talk about it? 4 days ago. And she was like, you just don't. I was like, I don't. I
No,
was like,
no, no. Listen, that it's funny. Yeah, that is true. That is funny because, but the power of now, the power of when ideas spark into your minds, you have to act upon them because they become stagnant. They just become an idea. Oh, I had that idea once. You know, if you don't put it into momentum, if you don't start creating, making it real, you won't know if it's fucking good or not. You know what I mean?
right.
So now, two guys talking at 5 a.m. Yeah, it's not easy. You know what I mean? It's definitely not. Trying to find another person to do this with, to have, I don't know, I don't want to, well, yeah, to quote the Miracle Morning, what was his last name? Hal Edrod? Hal, shit. I apologize if I butchered your name, brother, but I loved your book. you know, that Miracle Morning, this whole aspect of waking up at 5 a.m. I remember when I started doing this by myself, when I read that book once, the first time, not once, when I read that book the first time, I remember I would wake up at 5 a.m. and I'd go downstairs. I lived I'd go downstairs to the living room in my old house, and I'd sit down and I'd do everything, right? I'd journal, I'd vision, I'd meditate, I would journal, I'd exercise. I did that whole Miracle Morning routine. And I remember specifically during the meditation, I used to love the meditation parts because I would fall asleep.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be I'd be sitting down like this, and then I was on just out. My wife's like, great meditation. And I'm like, yep, it works.
Yeah, she called you out too. That's hilarious.
Of course.
That's awesome.
Of
Yeah, it's
course.
of course I always look it up. It's Hal Elrod.
Elrod. Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
That's a good book. That's a really good book. It's for somebody who's starting to, that was a great book to kind of kickstart it, you know? But here's the thing that most people don't understand: do something. You don't have to be perfect at it. Just do something. You know what I mean? Just a matter of waking up, getting out of bed. Just get up, get out of fucking bed, wash your face, and then see what's up. And then see what's up. You know what I mean? If you're still tired, go back to fucking bed. But I kind of,
Yeah,
I'm,
no,
I'm
I
willing to
disagree.
bet. Hold on. I'm willing to bet. That's where I was going. I'm willing to bet you're not going to bed. You see what I'm saying? You're already up. You're already up. You're
Uh,
already up. I challenge anybody. I promise you. Get up, wash your face, drink a fucking bottle of water. Don't drink any coffee yet. Drink a bottle of water. As soon as you wake up, drink a bottle of water. As a matter of, I like to drink warm water, just room temperature.
mhm.
Um, and my van is stocked with. I have, and it's hot in my van, and I'm always back there.
Yeah.
But anyway, but yeah, drink drink a bottle of water. It clears your fogginess. It helps you in the mood. It'll help wake you up, and then next thing you know, you're gonna go. You're gonna go do your run. You're gonna go do your exercises. You're gonna start your meditation. You're gonna start whatever the fuck it is you're gonna do. I promise you. Just the fact of getting out of bed. See, unfortunately, even it's my. I mean, I'm guilty as fuck. Also, I have my phone on next to my nightstand, and the only reason I do that is because you know what? I have no reason. Fuck.
Look, so you gotta remember, like I was the guy that was I would wake up in the morning and be exhausted, and I wouldn't go back to bed. Like I would stand there at the end of the bed and I would talk shit and call myself names
Yeah.
until and like I had to like silence that inner voice because like the bed's nice, it's comfortable, it's warm, especially when you're tired. And there's a Jocko Willett. He has this clip that I had caught probably 2 weeks ago. I think I actually remixed it on one of my reels. And he says, "Some of you guys get defeated by your pillow." It's like your pillow's taking you out. You don't have the ability to stop that. That's crazy. And it's like, so meanwhile, I was like, man, I don't want to get up at 3 o'clock to go to the gym to get it in before we do this. And I was like, man, I was like, I don't want to. And I was like, well, when has that ever really been a factor in your life where you wanting to do something was in your best interest? Like, you know what you should do, but more times than not, you really don't want to do it, but it still has to get done. Like, do you want to be in St. Pete right now? Like, it
No.
had to get done. And so, and like when I recently just took that promotion and we were having the conversation, and he was laying out, and he's like, well, it's like, if you want, you can try it out. And if you don't like it, you can just go back to doing what you're doing. And I was like, so I'm going to go into a position where I can make more money. And if I don't like it, then I'm going to go back to making less money to go back to that little comfortable place. Like, yeah, okay. Yeah, I'll take it. Like, it just, but the priorities, I guess, what's important to you currently, and that's what's important. So maybe later in life it would be a different conversation, but right now, like that priority, that's stuffing money in the account and planning for the future.
Yeah. That's one thing that is a matter of it is hard, especially on my family. But for example, like I took these trip. There's a trip. I've taken these trips because I have a goal in mind. You know what I mean? So I will get uncomfortable for a little bit so I can be happy later on. And that's it. And that's basically it. And that's the conversation I had with my wife because I'm in a position. I'm in a fortunate position. I'm blessed that um I'm pretty down. I'm down to a part time basis, on airplanes.
Yeah.
But this to me, this is quick, fast cash, and so this is. I don't want to say this is my lottery type deal. You know what I mean? But this is really quick, fast cash, and like we have for my wife's birthday, I gave her. I'm giving her a trip. We're going to go back to Colombia. We're going to go visit her hometown. We're going to go see her grandma. We're going to, you know what I mean? I'm going to go see people that I've never met. And she's
Nice.
going to go see people she hasn't seen in fucking almost 30 years,
Nice.
So we're doing that. And I said to myself, okay, I'm going to be going for a week and I have to, I got payroll. I got, and if I'm not physically there, it's really hard.
Mm-hmm.
It's really hard because I don't own a business. The business owns me. And with that being said, I said to myself and my wife, and I said, let me go. Let me take care of these jobs. That way we can go on vacation or go on this trip and not worry about, what's going on back home, not worried if everybody's getting paid, not worried if we're going to run out of money, not worried about, oh, fuck, because we're going towards, the end of the month, the beginning of the month. That's bill season, right? I mean, that's when you pay everything. I mean, that's what I do. I don't know. Towards the end of
Right.
the month, beginning of the month, that's when I pay fucking everything. And I'm like, shit, you know, I go broke every first. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I told her, I was like, we need a little bit of extra. And this is what this trip is going to be for. And there's going to be another one I found out yesterday, possibly next week.
Okay.
So I finish here Wednesday. I have to finish Wednesday. I don't know what day is today. Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Tomorrow. Oh shit.
Yep,
Okay.
it's here.
See, so I can finish tomorrow. But tomorrow, I'll be home by Thursday morning. You know, I got to drive
Okay.
back home whenever I'm done. I'm figuring at the rate that I'm going, probably be done around 10, 11 o'clock, and then drive home. You
Okay.
know, be home by 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning. And then I'm not going to do dick for 4 days. Thursday,
Okay.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I'll probably drive back up here on Monday. That's my idea. I don't know. It probably won't work out. I'll probably take another job back home or something, you know.
All right.
But that's the plan. But back to what it is you just got to do something. Whenever you have a problem, you just gotta just do something, dude. I mean, listen, it's an act of, if you can't save $100 a week, save $1.
Mm.
Save some, just do something. Why? Because it's the muscle memory, right? I mean, you're in the fucking gym. You know,
It's
there's
a
many
habit.
times yeah,
That's
right.
all it is. It's building good habits, and because whether you most people don't notice it or not, it's like everything you do is habit, is either good or bad. So like even the choices you make with your food,
Oh,
uh, water or soda, alcohol, tea, like everything is a habit. Like when I stopped drinking all the time, or I did drink for like 400 plus days, I literally drank tea. Because it's the habit of having something to drink.
yes,
You know,
yes.
if you're idle, then you're just like you're not doing anything in your hands, and then it's like, oh, okay, I want something to drink. And that was one of the biggest things that I found that helped when I wanted to make that change. And then of course, like today's day one of me taking another little break from alcohol consumption. I'll probably finish out through the end of the year, simply because when I start new projects, I like to like focus and develop a pattern and learn how to do it properly so I can become really efficient at it. So like when I started the online stores, like I was sober and I was like banging, creating, doing that all the time. And I got really good at it. And so, all right, cool. So now we're got this project and getting a little more in depth on my editing and stuff like that. And it's like, well, I might need to create a little more time. So let's go ahead and cut these things out. Funny, I cut things out by adding into workouts, all this other stuff, but it makes me focus and like just become deadly effective with my time. So like that's a it's like I told my wife last week, I was like, yeah, I'm probably gonna go ahead and hit phase one. And she was like, oh, okay. Well, when do you do that? I was like, I'll probably start next week sometime. And she's like, okay. And so yesterday she's like, did you start? I was like, yeah, no, tomorrow. I got to get all the alcohol out of the house before that happens because I want to have no temptations at home at least. It's fine when I go out, whatever, but still having it in the house, get rid of it all and just run through it and set myself up for success. So yeah, I'll finish out phase one, phase two, and phase three. Um, it should be right. Yeah, I'll finish on January 1st.
Phase one. Tell me about your phases.
And so, I mean, it's Andy Frisella stuff.
Andy
So
who?
Andy Frisella is the founder of First Form. So when we were up in Orlando, I was on 75 hard. So
Yeah.
it's the after you complete 75 hard, if you continue on through the year through the different phases, there's three different phases that are pretty flexible throughout the course of the year. And so I did 75 hard at the beginning of the year. And then phase one is a 30-day program with all the same stuff. And it's like to recalibrate. And then there's phase two. And then phase three is 30 days before your anniversary of 75 hard, which will be January 1st is when I started it. So I'll finish on January 1st of next year. So, which will in turn, it'll take me through the holiday season sober, but the only thing that'll come out is I'll make more money and be shredded and in great shape by the end of the year. So it's just like whatever. And it's like I'm already jacked, so I'm just gonna be shredded and jacked. And I'm like, hey.
Oh man.
But
To
yeah,
me, this
so
to me this is a first step. Um, because even though I'm used to waking up early, and I told you guys
mm-hmm,
before, like I told you before that I've always I've always woken up early, and
mm-hmm,
I'll go to school. Whatever it was when I was doing my school stuff. I think I told you already what I did with my kids. You know,
yep.
and the meditations and all that stuff. But yeah, there's times that I've noticed that. Oh, this is why. This is why I called you. Before I forget, this is why I called you. This is why I said I have to I have to make a change. So, and I'll tell you right now, March of this year, okay? March of this year is when I started making some changes and started relaxing. Things were doing great. Things were all
Mm-hmm.
right. So I started relaxing. I stopped waking up as early. I stopped doing my meditations. I stopped. Let me rephrase that. I didn't do them as often and as intense as before. Okay. Um, I Instead of being an hour, I was like 10, 15 minutes just to get something done. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Just something. But I noticed throughout this time, hey man, even though you're comfortable, even though you're okay, you're not really doing anything. You're just stagnant. I became stagnant. And when I became stagnant, a lot of fucking things started happening. Um, Money started to die down. Um, I was focusing on other things, and just a lot of things in my life just misaligned. It just kind of went blah, blah,
Right.
blah, blah, blah. And I just got to do something, right? And everything got misaligned. And I said to myself, told my wife, I was like, what kept repeating in my mind in the back, it's like, what got you here won't get you there. What got
Correct.
you here won't get you there. Now, that's a book. That's a book that I never really fully read. As a matter of fact, I got to find it. I think I still have it. It's one of those books that I found in my dad's old library. I'm talking about 20 years ago, and I never understood it. I never understood it. What got you here won't get
Marshall
you
Goldsmith.
there.
Huh. Okay.
The little things that I learned in that book, whatever little bit that I read, is doesn't matter how hard you train, doesn't matter what it is. It only brought you to this point, right here. It's not going to take you to where you need to go. But what you need to do, you know, is stay consistent. Stay consistent. Stay consistent. Um, Consistency is key to pretty much everything. We talked about the compound interest. We talk about life's compound interest. You just have to be consistent. If you, like you're saying, creating that muscle memory, creating that habit, that habit. Good habits, bad habits. Um, but so I said to myself, okay, I have to start waking up again because I saw a picture of me. I have a from 2020. Wait, we're in 24, so that was. I have a picture of my birth date of 22, 23, and 24, and I was extremely heavy. I
Mm.
was 230 pounds, 235, 22. In 23, I went down to 190, 180.
Oh wow.
24, 195, right? And then when I was 180, I looked really good. I had a 4-pack, it looked good. I was working out. Um, I stopped going to the gym and I became fluffy. And I'm back, so, but I maintained the weight though. So I'm 190. So I was talking to my wife and I said, something's going on in our circle, hers as well. I said to her, because she stopped doing some of her things too. And I was like, see, when you get comfortable, you got to continue and do, you can't let that momentum, die out. I mean, that's the hardest thing the hardest thing to, to, to get, but the easiest to maintain is momentum.
Yeah. Creating the liftoff is extremely difficult, but once you're flying, you can maintain it. It takes less energy, and that's the habit.
Yeah. That part I can say that I learned from a book called The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson.
Was that by who?
Jeff Olson.
I have that one.
I
I have the audiobook.
I have the audio. I got the book. I used to have the book in Spanish. I don't know what the fuck I did with it. I bought it in English. I bought and I actually have bought many of them and I've given them away as gifts. And recently I want a Spanish version because I got to give it to this guy. He because in that book, besides compound interest, besides a lot of the things, it talks about the little things in life, the little things that are very insignificant. Insignificant are the ones that really matter the most. Hey, if I drink that Coke today, am I going to die? No. If I drink the Coke every day for the next fucking 30 years, am I going to die? Yeah. I probably won't even last 30 years. You know what I mean?
Rot your insides out.
Yeah. You rot. Yeah. Hey, the same thing. Should I walk on the treadmill for 15 minutes or just watch this show for 15 minutes? You know what I mean? It's like I got 15 minutes to kill. What am I going to do? I'll sit down and play with my phone or walk on the treadmill or go out for a walk for 15 minutes. You know what I mean? It's the little things, the little tiny insignificant things that are not going to kill you. That should be, what's easy to do now will be extremely hard to do later. And what's hard to do now will be extremely easy to do later. As long as you're consistent. Look at that. I mean, look, it's like you already know waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning, you made a decision of coming on board with me at 5 a.m. and you just said it yourself. I wake up at 3 to go to the fucking gym and take care of what I need to take care of, you need to take care of before our interaction. That's taking care of you. That's prioritizing you, which is exactly what everybody needs to fucking do. Because if we're always in this world, we have a tendency to give to others. Oh, we're thinking about the others. And here's the thing, we never really think about ourselves. And then when we do, we're selfish. And it's looked bad. Oh, he's selfish. And this, no. If I'm okay, everything I love is okay. If I'm bad, everything that surrounds me is going to be bad. I need to focus on me, my mentality, my thing. I heard a thing the other day that said that the hardest thing to do is to really, really learn yourself. Mm-hmm. Get to know who the fuck are you for real, And when you start going down that rabbit hole, you're going to start realizing that you have to break yourself. You have to break yourself. You have to crumble and you have to rebuild. Because in order to have the life that you need, in order to have the life that you want, you can't do it being you. You have to do it being a better version of you. Right. Does that make sense?
Oh, no, it totally makes sense. Yesterday you had asked me, what do you feel like you're struggling with? What do you need help with? And I had to sit there for a little while and think about it. And when I was coming up with the answer that I came up with interacting with people and having higher expectations for them and putting them on them. Like that's the only thing that I could really come up with. And like I was really thinking about that this morning when I was on my way to the gym and while I was working out. I was like, why was it so hard for me to come up with something? And I think it's because I have done so much work on myself and I've accepted the things that like I used to perceive as flaws that are actually strengths that make me who I am. And it's like so it's like it's really hard for me to find things that I like actually struggle with because usually there's a good reason where when like you're going through something when I'm going through something that it's usually a lesson that has to be taught and learned. And so it's not really a struggle, it's just a learning experience for
See,
me.
that's
And
beautiful.
and so like I was like chilling on it and I was like and even with me like getting the frustration when working with others and expecting more out of them no I think that's because I understand what I'm capable of personally and I know people are capable of so much more and 9 times out of 10 they're either lazy or they have a wrong perspective on the situation. And so even when you're just talking about people loving themselves. I have a one of my buddies that I've been working with and like helping him walk through some fitness stuff, and he was having some issues with his wife was getting mad when he was going to work out. He was gone too long, he was gone too early, and and I was like, look, I was like, one of the things that you need to understand is like, it's not just about you. When she's telling you you're being selfish, like it's 100% God honest, the opposite of what's going on. Like you're not being selfish because if you're healthy, then you're going to live longer. You're going to be a better example for your children. And he was like, in your current state, is how old is your daughter? She's 9. I was like, all right, so when you want to walk her down the aisle, if you continue on the path that you're on right now, so you're not going to be able to, and you might not even be around. And so, you're looking at that whole slight edge, the compound effect. These things compound over time. If you're not going to make those decisions earlier in life, then it's like, yeah, you might be a little bit overweight right now, but if you can continue doing the same things that you're doing right now, then what are you going to be at, 10 years, 20 years down the road? And like, it's not a good picture. And so when we look at these things, it's like, dude, this is really, really important that you understand that you taking a little bit of time and somebody telling you you're being selfish or doing the things that you need to do is actually a benefit to them in the future, but they're too short sighted to see it. You have to be able to sell it to them, let them understand it. And he was just like, holy crap. I was like, well, that's like the difference. I was like, it's just a shift in mentality. Now, if you can keep your emotions under control and not get angry in that interaction and formulate the right set of words to be able to have that conversation and not hurt their feelings and be like, hey, look, this is why this is important. I think you should be doing the same thing and X, Y, and Z. And then, oh, huh, wow, yeah, I want to be around for my grandkids. Like that's a big like check that box. Holy crap! Because you only get one simple. You have to maintain it. If you don't maintain it, then it's going to decay and rot. Uh,
That's that's amazing because we that's fantastic advice. We have a tendency to, you know, not worry about tomorrow. You know, we have a tendency of I'll figure it out later, or shit like that. And then and you will. And you will,
mhm.
and you're not gonna die. And it's just one of those things where you just gotta do something to be prepared. You gotta do something. It's a quick thought came into my head when you were talking, and then I started thinking about it real quick. I wanted to say that you know how we talked about the richest man in Babylon, right?
Mhm.
Right, to turn your copper into
Remind
silver.
remind me to
Yeah,
put together a book list
uh,
so we
yeah.
can
There's
get.
there's quite a few. Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
let's do that.
there's quite there's quite a few, and even though most of the guys that are going to be listening to us or whatever, or if anybody listens, it's going to be the guys that are like, fucking reading. Yes, yes,
One hundred
reading.
percent.
Yes, reading. And if you need help, as certain people, audios. I listen. I'll I'll listen to part of the audio. I'll listen to the audio, and if I really like it, I'll go buy the book, and then I'll do it again, and then I'll follow the book with the audio. So each book I will read at a minimum of twice. It'll take
Mm,
me, you know, and then also in the slight edge, and this is part of it because it goes just read 10 pages a day. You don't have to read a fucking book. Just read
100%.
10 pages a day. That's all it is. 10 pages. I promise you at the end of the 10 pages, you're going to be like, wait, I got to read one more. I got to read two more. Or I want to finish a chapter. Something's going to happen. Something. Just fucking start. Just read 10, at least 10 pages. Because 10 pages, you're going to be in the middle of something. You might break on something and be in the beginning and you want to see. Or maybe you find something that you're just not really interested in. All right, cool. At least I got it. I got it over with. Fuck that.
Mm-hmm.
10 pages, you're done. And then tomorrow you worry about the other boring 10 pages. But something's going to happen. It's just keep doing, just do it. And it goes back to the same thing. You can't save $100 a week, no problem. Save 10. You can't save 10, save $1. Why? Because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. You let life take care of you. And you're taking care of your future tomorrow, of your future self. You're taking care of that person, of that entity by, hey, by giving them, saying, hey, here's for you, 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 right? It's not hurting me right now. I don't
Mm-hmm.
need this. Here's for you. Here's for you. The little, even though you're sending very little to your future self, the world, the universe, the compound, it's going to fucking multiply 100 times, 1,000 times. It's how long, and also, oh, here it is. Thank you. Thank you. Alex Hermosi said, the longer you delay your gratification, the bigger your reward.
Mm,
Something like that.
mm, mm.
That's a, that wasn't a specific quote, but that's pretty much what he fucking had to say. He said it in a much nicer terms, you know? And because these are guys, these are people that kind of figured it out, you know,
Yeah.
and we
He
need
didn't
to,
kind of figure it out. He figured it out.
dude, 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 you know? Oh my goodness. Yeah, reading his story and oh my gosh, yeah, you know, that's pretty cool. I'm happy for him. I really am. That's
Right.
awesome. You know, and here's something else. Everything that happens to you, it's supposed to happen to you. So, like you said, learn from it, whatever. So
Yeah.
I tend to. Oh, you also, I tend to say, why did this happen, or why is this happening, and what's the lesson behind it? I don't say, ah, oh, fuck my life. Oh,
Mm.
why, why me? No,
Yeah.
dude.
It's
No,
never the
it's a
why.
no. It's
That's I don't even ask why. It's it it's what did I learn
what am I learning
and
from
what
this?
could I have done differently? Because I tried to figure out how I caused it. Like I had a interaction where I went to business with somebody and he had a skill set that I didn't have, and I like had to rely on that skill set to be able to execute on that business. And I was like, all right, so what do you learn? I was like, all right, well, you need to learn this aspect of what you're trying to do, and then you can reevaluate and come back and attack it. Because well, it's like you can be upset about something, or you can figure out how to solve that problem. And if you can figure out how to solve that problem, you learn something, and now it's not a waste. Like there's somebody we're, we're talking very in depth about a few things. And he's like, dude, I'm sorry that happened to you. I was like, why? It's like, like what did I learn in that situation? It was like the amount of knowledge that I gained over those years in this area. Like I learned how to speak, I learned how to sell, I learned how to close, I learned how to communicate. Like I didn't talk like this before I got into that other company. I didn't talk like this before I started reading. Like all of these different things are a byproduct of those experiences that I had of the supposed, like the failure in, I didn't make $1 million a year. Okay, cool. Like I didn't make $1 million collectively over that course of time, but the skills that I developed are going to propel me further down that path. And that's huge. So you sit there and throw your pity party, you sit over in the corner eating ice cream, or man, I learned so much. Like, it's crazy. Like, man, you see what I'm gonna do with this? So it's just a different perspective. And I think that's just where it has to lie, where you're just like, oh, okay, like this is, oh man, like I learned so much, and the relationship and everything inside and out of it is crazy. Um, and you said people don't focus on tomorrow, and I think they focus on the wrong aspects of tomorrow.
Great point. Great point. Yeah. I mean, yeah, we only live once. We're here on this earth for whatever reason. It is what it is. Actually, I just said that is what it is. I've heard two things. There's a guy that he was one of my earliest, I guess I could call him a mentor. Right now, he's a really good friend of mine. I met him. He was a trainer on a company I was working with doing insurance, and I remember him, and he would always just do his trainings and this and that, and personal development and do all this stuff. And one day I said, yeah, it is what it is. He goes, I hate that saying because you can always change the is what it is. And I started thinking about it, and I was like, wait a moment. I like is what it is. And because absolutely, even though we can alter and change everything, our perceptions, I can alter and change the way I see things, alter and change the way I do things, alter and change the way I think about things. Once you start getting that dirty thought, he's like, oh, stop yourself, and then move on from it. Where I want to go with this is when you accept and analyze the situation, when you accept it and say, you know what, I'm in this position because of this, this, and this. You know what? It is what it is. Either my fault or it's something I can't control, and I'm not going to fucking change the situation right now. But I know how I can handle it next time,
Right.
And that's the aspect. When you really don't give a fuck, it's like, hey, you know what? I can't change it. There's nothing I can do. So why am I going to get mad? Why am I going to get pissy about it? I'm going to ruin my fucking day. I'm going to ruin my wife's day. I'm going to ruin my kid's day. I'm going to go fucking, whatever, road rage. Why?
Right.
Why? I've had friends in road rage accident. I've had friends get shot during road rage. You know what I mean? I was like, why? It doesn't have to happen. You put yourself in that own situation. Oh, but the fucking guy pulled a gun. Turn the other way.
All right.
Why are you going to expose yourself? Just whatever it is. Oh, I didn't know. I'm going to go kick his ass. Yeah, he's going to shoot you. Yeah. But, yeah, I think was that
right there? Oh, that right there is an enigma. Like,
I think
that is. I think that's all that needs to be said today.
That was pretty nice. Thank you.
I think this was a very good conversation this morning.
I appreciate you, yeah, man.